Coming to you live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, this is Allison Bandy, CNN News reporter. I'm here at the site of the 2016 Democratic National Convention. After much debate, it was decided to host the DNC in Philadelphia as opposed to other very eligible cities of New York City and Columbus, Ohio. There is much expectation to make history again in this city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. It will be hosted the week of July 25th, 2016, immediately after the Republican event that will be hosted in Cleveland, Ohio. We're here today to interview each of the Democratic candidates running to become the Democratic Party's presidential nominee. And now to reporter Alethea Keith, who is with the first candidate of the evening, Darla.
Good evening, and thank you, Allison. Tonight we are interviewing the current Democratic candidates so that our audience can make an educated vote for their presidential nominees. I'm here tonight with Darla, reporting live from his home from Burlington, Vermont. We're here to discuss Mr. Darla's policy positions and platform standpoints. How are you this evening, Mr. Darla?
Please, call me Dallas. I'm doing well and I'm exceptionally eager to win the votes of our viewers.
That's so good to hear. We look forward to seeing more action in the polls. Let's begin tonight with hearing about your policy values. In light of recent activity overseas, what would you say your stance on foreign affairs is?
I strongly encourage the use of diplomacy. War and the loss of life and damage to the economy that it brings should be treated as a last resort.
Your liberal tendencies to discuss new courses of action shows through in your values, Mr. Darla. What would you propose for this nation in areas concerning terrorism?
Terrorism is undeniably a serious threat. I believe that we should work to prevent world attacks without impeding the constitutional rights of the American people. The test of a great and powerful nation is not how many wars it can engage in, but how it can resolve international conflicts in a peaceful manner.
In light of your awareness for terrorist acts, how would you say the nation should approach gun control?
Protection of the people is at the heart of my values. I believe it is only safest if we enforce background checks upon the purchase of weaponry. While banning the public distribution of semi-automatics, it is imperative to limit criminal opportunity by shutting down gun shows.
To limit criminal activity has been a long considered subject. How would you describe your goals for the nation's law enforcement and homeland security?
I believe it is important that our intelligence and law enforcement agencies have the tools to provide and protect us. It is key that this be done with appropriate legal oversight while also seeking the preservation of the basic freedoms outlined in our Constitution.
How would you advise extending these basic freedoms to immigrants?
I am a strong advocate for comprehensive immigration reform.
Your values definitely indicate a reserved approach to big government. How should our law enforcement approach the growing drug industry?
We need to educate the public about the effects and dangers that drugs pose. For-profit prisons need to be eradicated and the war on drugs needs to be brought to an end. Our policies forces are established in order to protect and preserve the nation, and as they are a far cry from our militant forces should be militarized.
Effective and resilient. I must say I am impressed. Speaking of educating the public, what would you say your stance on education is?
America has established free access to primary education. I see no reason that there be a price on higher education. By taxing financial transactions and lowering interest rates, we could begin providing free college education.
An interesting approach that just might raise our international education scores. You spoke of lowering interest rates. How would you approach taxes?
Raising payrolls as well as state and corporate income taxes are always in my interests. Americans are equal in our domestic rights and therefore we should be equal in our taxes. It is only just to stop corporations from shifting profits and jobs overseas to avoid paying these taxes.
You speak of corporations. They've proven to have a higher level of living than the average American. What do you think of this impact within our economy?
It is imperative that we as a nation strive to begin reversing the national wealth deficit, and I intend to be that catalyst. I will do my utmost best to create work and employment.
Well said. Any ideas as to how you might go about creating work opportunities?
I believe it is possible to create thousands of jobs through clean energy workforce. By investing billions into clean energy, we will produce trillions and potentially reduce the United States carbon pollution by an optimal 80%.
An efficient way to massively decrease unemployment. How would you describe your stance on oil, considering your knowledge of carbon pollution?
By decreasing America's dependence on foreign oil, we might be able to more effectively work towards 100% clean energy for electricity, heating, and transportation while simultaneously creating jobs for Americans along the way.
What impact might this have on America's welfare?
By marginally decreasing the unemployment rate and extending Social Security taxes to be wealthy, prescription drugs and medical bills would be lowered.
Do tell more about your stance on healthcare.
Healthcare is as much of a right to life as and liberty. As president, I would strive to enact a single-payer healthcare system through Medicare for all citizens of the United States.
All citizens from all backgrounds. This includes our returning military veterans, does it not?
Indeed it does. Veterans should have access to timely and adequate care. It is our nation's duty to remedy the disability claims process so as to provide the ease of a recovery for our heroes.
What great answers. Thank you, Mr. Darla, for giving us your time. It was good to hear straight from you what your dreams for this country are.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for hosting me. I hope our audience remembers that we may only progress as a nation if we unite our strength.
Well said, Mr. Darla. Voters out there are now assured to be in the know. And now back to you, Allison.
All right, thanks again, Alethea. It was a pleasure having Mr. Darla with us on the air tonight. Thank you for watching. We'll now break for a commercial. When we return, you'll have the chance to hear from the other presidential candidates. And now, to the commercial.